One of Sweden's biggest supermarket chains, Co-op Sweden, says it's had to close around 500 of its stores temporarily due to what's been called a colossal ransomware cyber attack. At least 2 people are reported dead, another 20 missing after a huge mudslide swept through a hillside resort in central Japan. The army's been called in to help the rescue operation. The UN Security Council has warned that a famine in the Ethiopian region of Tigray now affects more than 400,000 people. There's also a warning that the situation could rapidly deteriorate. At the Euro 2020 football tournament, Denmark are taking on the Czech Republic with a place in the semi-finals at stake. The Danes are currently leading 1-0. The winner will face either England or Ukraine, who play in just a few hours' time.
We start here in Japan, where huge mudslides have swept away houses near Tokyo. Local officials say 2 people have died and about 20 remain unaccounted for. Torrential rain has been lashing areas along the country's Pacific coast since early Saturday. There have been scenes of devastation in Atami City in Shizuoka Prefecture. Police say at least 10 houses have been washed away. About 200 personnel from the Self-Defense Forces and Tokyo Metropolitan Police are joining the search and rescue operation. Officials issued the highest level of warning to around 20,000 households in the city after the mudslides. People there have been told to secure safety immediately. The local terrain is steep and is packed with houses and some hotels. One local said he fled to higher ground after he saw mudslides nearby. Other residents also spoke to NHK.
The mudslide came really close, right in front of my house. I couldn't get away, so I climbed up a ladder. I could hear it coming before I saw it.
It was an unimaginable sound. I knew it was a landslide. It's been raining constantly for 3 days. It's been steady rather than a sudden downpour.
An NHK drone snapped this footage about 9 hours after the initial slide. It shows water still flowing with force, as well as severe damage. This man has been trying to contact his mother-in-law.
My mother-in-law lives at the top of the slope that collapsed. I heard people say she's evacuated somewhere, but I don't know where she is. I want to make sure she's safe as soon as possible.
It's the height of Japan's rainy season. Meteorological agency officials say the downpours are due to a lingering rain front. Shizuoka and Kanagawa prefectures are getting the worst of it. The officials say the city of Atami has already seen more than the average rainfall for the whole of July. Authorities have issued mudslide warnings for parts of Shizuoka and Kanagawa prefectures. Some rivers have already exceeded the flood danger level. They warn there could be more mudslides, swollen rivers, and flooding in low-lying areas. They're asking people to keep up to date with the latest evacuation information. Shinkansen bullet trains between Tokyo and Osaka were suspended as track safety has not been confirmed due to the heavy rain. The Tokyo Metropolitan Government says it confirmed 716 new cases of the coronavirus in the capital on Saturday. Concern is growing about the resurgence of infections there and in the prefectures around Tokyo. The daily tally in the capital is up 182 from a week ago. Week-on-week increases have been posted for 14 days straight. Tokyo officials say 50 people are in serious condition. That is 4 less than there were on Friday. No fatalities have been confirmed. Cases are also rising in the 3 prefectures around Tokyo. Nationwide, 1,881 new infections have been reported. 9 people have died. A county mayor in the U.S. state of Florida has ordered the demolition of a condominium that partially collapsed last month, killing more than 20 people. The mayor of Miami-Dade County says the demolition will make it easier for rescuers to continue searching for the many others who are still missing.
I signed an emergency order authorizing the demolition of the building in the interest of public health and safety as soon as the engineers sign off on the next steps to begin the demolition process.
The 12-story condominium near Miami partially collapsed on June 24th. 22 people died, including 3 children. More than 120 others remain unaccounted for. Rescuers had to halt their search for more than 12 hours on Thursday due to fears that the remaining part of the building could also collapse. The search and rescue efforts have also been hindered by bad weather. Weather officials expect a hurricane to approach Florida in the first half of next week. With about 3 weeks to go before the opening of the Olympic Games, the Tokyo Metropolitan Police Department has conducted a thorough security check of the athletes' village. About 1,000 officers were mobilized to inspect the village in the Harumi waterfront area. Specially trained dogs capable of sniffing out explosives were also used to inspect around buildings and security checkpoints.
With his great nose, he was highly motivated and engaged in his task. We will do our utmost to provide maximum security so that everyone can enjoy themselves throughout the Games.
The organizing committee says that after the security sweep is completed at each venue, around-the-clock security will start, with only people issued with official ID cards allowed to enter. The Olympics and Paralympics will be held at 43 venues, mainly in Tokyo. Police officers as well as private security personnel will be posted at and around the competition venues. Experts at the World Health Organization are sounding the alarm about a resurgence of coronavirus cases. They say they're keeping a close watch on variants as the coronavirus continues to mutate and spread. Authorities in India have witnessed one of the most explosive outbreaks caused by a variant. As recently as May, they recorded more than 400,000 infections a day, many of those due to the Delta strain. They've since managed to bring case numbers down with strict lockdowns. But the Director General of the world's top health body is warning against complacency.
The Delta variant is dangerous and is continuing to evolve and mutate, which requires constant evaluation and careful adjustment of the public health response.
Indian health officials have already identified a further mutation of the Delta variant, which they've labeled Delta Plus. That hasn't stopped authorities in New Delhi from easing restrictions across the country. They reopened the Taj Mahal in mid-June for the first time in 2 months. On the other side of the world, Peruvian health officials say they've detected the Lambda variant in more than 80% of samples since April. The strain is also spreading in Argentina and Chile. Authorities in Asian countries such as Indonesia and Bangladesh are also struggling to combat outbreaks, and those in Britain, Russia, and South Africa are tackling resurgences too. In Major League Baseball, Japanese two-way star Ohtani Shohei of the Los Angeles Angels has been named the American League Player of the Month for June. Ohtani was given the award as a position player. It is the first time Ohtani has received the monthly honor in his 4-year U.S. career. He batted .309 with a league-leading 13 home runs in 25 games in June. He also racked up 23 RBIs and 4 stolen bases. The 26-year-old Ohtani also pitched in June and had a 2-0 record with a .494 earned run average and 33 strikeouts. Ohtani is the 7th Japanese player to be named the MLB's Player or Pitcher of the Month and the 3rd as a position player. Suzuki Ichiro of the Seattle Mariners won the honor in August 2004, and Matsui Hideki of the New York Yankees in July 2007. Both were outfielders. Those were the stories for this hour.